everybody. All right, so I wanted to make a video about the top 5 ways to have a positive coaching experience. So this isn't only about color guard. I'll definitely use some color guard examples to just help the color guard director or coach or whatever. But this is just things that I found throughout different research and stuff like that, and just like personal experience. My top 5 ways to have a positive coaching experience. I'm gonna go ahead and start. Okay, so number 5, be safe and knowledgeable about your sport. I'm one of those people who actually says you don't have to know how to do everything in the sport to coach it. Prime example, I do color guard and I do dance. I've never tumbled in my life. I've never done gymnastics. I can't do handstand. I can't even do a proper bridge. I have no back flexibility. So I actually was helping out in a tumbling class a few times. I know, I can't even do anything remotely close to tumbling, but I was able to effectively help them because I watched the instructor. I asked them, how do you spot these things? How do I notice what they're doing wrong? And it's closely enough related for me to be like, oh my gosh, you need to be pointing your feet while you're doing that back handspring. Gross. Just like dance. I could help them. You need a deeper plie before you go into this, or I looked up how to properly spot certain things. Obviously, don't be spotting kids doing round off back handsprings if you don't know what you're doing as far as that, but like it's not hard to spot kids doing bridges or kip ups, things like that. As long as you're being safe about the way you're spotting, then you can effectively help them. So it's just one of those things where if you have this much knowledge, then you can really expand on it even if you've never done it. And so you just need to look it up, look up what's wrong, what's right. It's not that hard to, if you've looked at any sport and you watch an athlete, you can be like, oh my gosh, you're doing that wrong or you're doing that right. The real problem is knowing why they're doing it wrong or right and how to fix that. So just do your research on whatever your sport is. Just do your research. You can ask questions, go talk to other instructors, ask them what are common things that they've seen in their sport for like the simple mistakes and how to fix them. Don't be lazy. If you're gonna be coaching students, even if it's not your niche, you've never done it before, you don't have to be lazy and just be like, oh, I'm just a babysitter making sure they don't get hurt. Well, if you're a babysitter making sure they don't get hurt, then you need to know how to stop them from getting hurt. All right, anyways, moving on, that was number 5. So be safe and knowledgeable about your sport. All right, so number 4. This definitely isn't something to take lightly, and I kind of already touched on it when I did my intro, but you need to commit to every student 100%. That's not a question. You can't choose favorites. You can't, if you have like if one of your students is your own child, you can't, only focus on them and only help them get better. You need to commit to every single student 100%. Like, they know if you're not committing to them. And if you're not committed to your students, they're going to have a negative time and you're going to have a negative time. I mean, seriously, my coach stinks. It's what kids say. It's a lot of the reasons why they stop doing the sport. And I bet from that sentence, my coach stinks or my coach sucks, there's an underlying, like an undertone. My coach isn't focused on me or my teammates. I'm sure of that. Don't be there for yourself. I mean, obviously, part of the reason you're there is because you enjoy it, hopefully, and you want to do something that you like doing, but you gotta be there for the kids. They're not gonna have fun, and you're not gonna have fun if you're not committed to them. Another huge thing that I see instructors do, especially in the sport of color guard, is they'll like bring their computer with them and they'll be like, oh my gosh, while you guys are stretching, I'm gonna order the flags, or I need to order these things, or whatever. No, you are the coach. You need to be there. If you are 100% focused on them, they will be 100% focused on you. If you give them the undivided attention that you expect from them, they will always give it to you too. You are accountable for being present at rehearsals, mentally and physically, just as much as they are. So lead by example and be committed to them. That's it. So commit to every student 100%. Number 3. So I could probably make a whole video about this. So I'm not gonna like dive in real deep on it like I have been with some others, but it's create and commit to your coaching philosophies. And then followed by that, you need to communicate that with your students, with their parents, and with your staff. So if you don't know what a coaching philosophy is, look it up. There's tons of help out there for coaching education to help you build your coaching philosophy. If your first season coaching is right now and you're watching this, you probably aren't going to be able to fully build your coaching philosophy. It has taken me, I think it took me 3 years to really build my coach philosophy. But I had things that I knew I wanted to do and ways that I wanted to talk to my students and things that I just knew were important to me, and I was going to make sure my students knew that. Like, winning is not important to me. My students know that. What's more important to me is that my students respect each other and themselves, that they're proud of what they've accomplished and achieved through the season, and that they're better as performers, as athletes, and as people from when they started our season. So just from that, I've been able to expand on my own personal coaching philosophy a ton, and I've even just from my experience, and I feel like what not to do is more how I built my coaching philosophy based on other instructors and what I've seen. It's like, wow, that is not the way you should be talking to your kid right now. Like, just come on. If you're working with high school students especially, they're young adults, and when you were in high school, you really wanted to be treated like an adult. And I always, at the beginning of my season, I tell my students, I will treat you like adults until you give me a reason not to. And communicating that to them right off the bat, they're like, oh my gosh, she's gonna respect us. And it worked. It has helped them be more mature and be responsible through the season, not just right in the beginning. All right, and just make sure you're communicating it. I write an email at the beginning of the season to all of my parents, just explaining who I am and what my coaching philosophy is. And if you have staff underneath of you, assistant coaches or whatever, just make sure that they're on board with you and that they know what your coaching philosophy is. Because the worst thing probably to have happen is have the staff below you doing the exact opposite. Like, it's your team, especially if you're the director, it's your team. It needs to be run the way you feel that it needs to be run. So just do that. All right, so number 3 was create and commit to your coaching philosophy. All right, number 2. So this one could easily have been number 1 because in any relationship, this is the most important thing. And the way to have a positive coaching experience is to have positive relationships with your students. So the key to every positive relationship, or so we're always being told, is open lines of communication. And I'm not just saying this to be open lines of communication with your students, but it needs to be with parents and with your staff as well. You're not gonna have a positive experience ever if you do not have open communication among those 3 things: your students, your staff, your parents. So I'll retouch on the emails that I send out to the parents at the beginning of every season. I always congratulate them. Hey, congratulations, your student has made my color guard program, and I'm so excited. I can tell that they're going to be a valuable asset to my team. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. And I tell them, you know, the normal, where I've done whatever and who I've worked with before and yada yada yada, who I am. And then I explain my coaching philosophy to them, and just about being respectful and just all the different things that I care about personally as a coach, and how I don't stress winning. Winning is hopefully the reward from being deserving. So if they work hard enough and they deserve it, then great, I hope they win. You know, that kind of thing for me. But just seriously, like, that one email creates this like amazing communication. It's like the bridge that connects myself and my parents, and they almost always respond to that email and say, wow, I'm so excited for you to be their coach. I can't wait to see if my student grows and develops into a better person because of this, and so on and so forth. And I have a really positive relationship with my 22 students, their parents. I don't know, it just open line of communication. If you don't ever talk to your parents, then you're not gonna have an open communication. I don't know. And just with your staff, always. I mean, if you are the director and you have staff below you, you're basically in a managerial role. You need to make sure that you're being communicative, you're letting them know what you expect of them, and you're letting them know what their rules are, the boundaries are, things like that. And if they're overstepping, just tell them. Just be like, hey, I think that, you know, we've got to mix up with what your role is here. And, you know, if that's not okay, then we can talk about it. Just things like that. Number 2 was open lines of communication. And number 1. Okay. This is important to me as number 1 because I think this is really what's going to help you have the most positive experience. Oh, okay. Don't be fake or fit the role of your coach self. So what I mean by that, teachers do it, people when they become managers do it. You know, they have this preconceived idea of who they're going to be in their coach self. And they're like, oh, Coach Kira is going to be this person, you know, when I'm with my students. But real Kira, like my own person, I'm going to be over here. And my kids aren't allowed to see who I really am, yada, yada, yada. You're being fake. Let me tell you, kids can smell that from 100 miles away. You're fake. Don't do that. Imagine, and this is actually advice I've been given personally, so imagine a Venn diagram of you. So one circle is you, who you are, and the other circle is who you are as a coach. And in the middle are the things that are the same. So it's kind of like write down all of the things about you and write down all the things about you as a coach and figure out how to make them meet in the middle. You don't want to ever be this person because you don't want them knowing everything about you, right? You don't want them knowing your personal life, things like that. That can cause a negative experience, promise. So you kind of need to take the things that, you know, they should be seeing in you, what you should be seeing in you, and then take the things that you think make a positive coach or would make you a good coach, those attributes, and just combine them, and don't be fake. Alright, so number 1 was don't be fake or fit the role of your coach self. Alright, so if you feel like this has been helpful and you're excited to see some other videos from me, go ahead and like and subscribe, and have a great day.